Kia ora, and welcome back to Rebecca and Nyx Knitting Podcast. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about my knitting, my crafting, and just everything that I've been working on recently. Thank you for joining me, and Happy New Year, even though it's the middle of January by now. I've been having a lovely summer season with my kids home and my partner home from work and school, and I haven't had much opportunity to record. But I've snatched this time today, and I thought I would come along and share a bit of a just an episode about all my WIPS, basically. In my last episode, a few of you commented and mentioned that you'd be interested in see all the things that are on my needles. And so, yeah, I thought I would just pop along and show you. I was intending to have a bit of a whip down season in January and to clear my needles a bit from having a lot of stuff on them over 2024. But instead I seem to have had a bit of a cast on fest. So although some things have come off my needles and I have finished a couple of long-standing WIPs in January, I'll talk about them in my next regular podcast. But I have added quite a few things to my WIP list in January as well, and signed up for a few test knits, which was not my intention, but has been my actuality. I don't know. That's just the way it is. I have the summer off. I'm not doing anything. I start my new job on February 3rd, and so I have just been following the knit joy wherever it takes me. So I thought I would attempt to go oldest to newest on these WIPs, and I've just realized that I forgot to get one of them out. But that's actually a frog that I'm not going to continue with, so I will show you that at the end. Yeah, so let's get started, shall we? My oldest WIP that I think I have on the needles is this one right here, in this gorgeous project bag from Mamawooling. This is the Lauder sweater by the Crochet. I cast this on the middle of last year, maybe? Maybe it was in the first quarter. I didn't actually check my Ravelry. I can put a little thing on the screen saying when I cast this on. But there you go. I am more than halfway finished. I've got another 10 centimeters to do on the body, plus the sleeves and the neckband. I am doing this all over cable V-neck version, and I am holding two yarns together that I purchased on cones from Yarn on Cone. This one here, sorry, the lighting's not great today. It's not at all summery, it's raining. Is a tweedy, like single ply, and this one here is just a solid soft pink, and I am holding them together to create this really softly tweeded pink cable sweater. I cast this on in between test knits last year and just hardly ever came back to it because I just kept picking up more test knits, and then my priorities changed in terms of my knitting. So, and this was just a for me because I wanted it knit, so I never got back to it. I am very keen to finish this sweater. I would love to have this ready to wear for autumn. So before I cast on any new sweater WIPs for myself, this will be getting finished. So I'm really excited to work on that again. I didn't find the cables at all difficult to do. You only have to cable every fourth row, and they're small enough cables that I'm able to do that without a cable needle, so I don't find it difficult at all. And it's quite fun. After knitting so many stocking stitch lentos in 2023, I've really found in the last year that I have become much more interested and enjoying more textured knits and having a bit more interest in my knitting, not just all stockinette in the round. So that's one of my oldest WIPs, and that one will be getting finished sometime, not imminently, but definitely, hopefully, in the first sort of quarter of this year. The next one, I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a spontaneous recording because I had a window of time, and so I didn't actually do any looking up on my Ravelry to see what the dates were around these projects. So I'll try and put them on the screen, but if that fails, go have a look at my Ravelry project pages. Pretty much all of these are on Ravelry, and if they're not yet, they will be soon. Because some of them are close to being FOs, and so some of them will just come up then. This is one of the test knits I did in 2024. This is the Kit Sweater by the Crochet, and I got close to finishing it but didn't do the second sleeve, and took my finished object pictures at very strategic angles so that you couldn't tell that I hadn't knit the other sleeve. It's a really, really beautiful herringbone pattern design. I'm knitting this in Highlander Heathers by Skeins, which is 100% New Zealand wool. It's a sport weight yarn. I really, really love this, but I found it quite a slog to knit. The gauge is real funky on this because of the slip stitch pattern, and it takes a long time to knit the texture because of the slip stitches. So your row gauge is really small and it just takes ages, and it does take a fair bit of concentration to get it right, to change direction at the right time and to keep the slips moving as they should. So I have one more sleeve to finish on this, and again I would love to get this finished in the first quarter this year so that I can wear this come autumn. Although it's sport weight, it is quite a dense fabric because of the slip stitch dense, they're like short row gauge. And I did do like a 3/4 sleeve on this, which I don't think I will be extending. I'll be making it as small as possible to finish it, and it's quite fitted as well. I signed up to knit, I think I was knitting size 2, and it is quite pretty much neutral ease on me. It doesn't really have positive ease. So it's not something that I don't know quite how I'm going to style it when it's finished, but it's going to get finished because I'm not going to have knitted the majority of a sweater and not finish the last sleeve. So that will be getting done at some point. Here's the remnants of the wool if you want to see. This colorway is called Scotch Mist, and it's a beautiful, like, I don't know, between periwinkle and sky blue, but quite soft and quite heathered, hence the name, Highland Heathers. Really affordable yarn, really nice, but it's non-superwash, it's 100% wool, so it's definitely a little bit more on the prickly rustic side. Then it's not a really soft merino superwash, but I don't have a problem wearing it. So that's WIP number 2. I think this one maybe will be next. A guesstimation, guys. This is my Stella quilt blanket, which you will have seen before if you have been around. I have almost 3 squares finished out of the 9. This one's just missing the last boring grey corner. This one here was my first one. This one is complete. And here's my in progress one. This one is halfway done. Yeah, so they're coming along really nicely. This is a really fun project. I really enjoy working on it. I love that it's modular and that I can work on it without having a whole blanket across my lap. I have been loving my sweatshop blanket that I was working on prior to this, and I have no doubt that I'm going to love this blanket when it's done, but it's kind of just become a background knit. Again, I really, really love it. I really enjoy working on it, but it's just a for me project with no timeline attached to it, and so it is, yeah, just got bumped by test knits, basically. I am using all of the colours are just scraps and mini skeins from my stash. I had a mini skein subscription from Dreamfly Artisan Yarns last year, and they sent me all different shades of pinks, and then I just love pink, so I'm always collecting pink yarns. So that's what I'm using for the minis. I'm kind of group them. You'll see this one is more purpley pinks and hot pinks. This one that I'm doing now is more softer apricot-y peaches. And then this one here was kind of more corally pinks. And I'm trying to alternate a variegated and a solid and a variegated and a solid. So this one, you can see this one yarn here really kind of stands out as a lot darker, which is a bit of a bummer, but I'm not going to be going back to change it because it's a scrappy blanket. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that project. For the main colour, I am using this yarn here, which is a knit crate yarn. This is a DK weight merino, cashmere, nylon and stellina blend. It's got silver stellina. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. Oh, you can see a little bit of a sparkle there, I think. Just in the soft grey. I had 6 skeins of that, and it's taking about 1 skein per square. And I actually managed to purchase, well, actually swap 3 more skeins from someone in Norway, actually, who swapped me 3 that she had in stash, because obviously it's a discontinued yarn. Knit crate is no longer. And yeah, and so I sent her some yarn and she sent me those, so we only had to pay for the shipping, so that was really great. So I can make a 9 square size for that, so I'm looking forward to getting back to that, but again, no timeline on that one. It would be lovely to have it ready to use for the winter, but that gives me a bit of time, and I need to just clear a few other things off my needles so that can become a priority again. This one's been on my needles for a while. This one is going to be at FO very soon, guys. I am going on a road trip. I leave tomorrow. I'm going away for a long weekend with my hubby. And we are driving to Rotorua and then Tauranga, which is about 5 hours driving time each way, but further up to Tauranga, but we'll stop in Rotorua on the way. So this is just a little tank top that I cast on. I can't remember the name of the pattern, but I will pop it in there on the screen if I can remember. It is kind of to here. It's kind of halfway done. This is a single skein of Dark Harbour yarn in their single ply silk merino base. So it's 30% merino, no, 70% merino, 30% silk. And I just wanted a beautiful little drapey singlet top for the summer. I cast this on quite a long time ago, and it has not been a priority because a single ply fingering weight singlet takes an age to knit and it's quite boring. I got through the triangles for the top half really quickly and did the straps because I'm trying to make this out of a single skein, so I wanted to make sure I had the length. So this will not be halter neck, it's just that the 2 straps are knit, and then I've just pinned them together at the top here so that I can graft them to the back when it's finished. This design has sort of a trapezoid at the back, but then the 2 triangles at the front, which I quite like because the 2 little tiny triangles at the back is really fiddly to knit. It's in the round now, just going. I'm literally just going to go until I have finished the cake of yarn to get the maximum length. I think I will finish with an I-cord bind off because it is got the I-cord straps and kind of got that sort of I-cord-esque slip stitch finishing around the fronts. So yeah, last time I weighed this, which I haven't knit on it much since then, I had about 30 grams left to knit. Yeah, so that's going to be my car knitting for my trip up. So hopefully I will get to the end of this pretty soon. My plan was, and still is, just has been bumped for other things, is to knit this singlet and then make a sheer single strand of mohair ranunculus to wear over it. So I have caked up, ready to go, but I doubt we'll get cast on because test knits have again bumped things. I've got to stop signing up for impromptu test knits, guys. But also from Dark Harbour Yarn, this is their mohair base, silk mohair base, and this one is called Very Pink. And I've got a single cake of that 420 meters, and that should make me a short-sleeved ranunculus to wear over this. So the ranunculus will be very sheer because it's just that single strand of mohair, and you knit it on supposed to be 6mm needles. So I might do 5.5s. We'll see. I haven't got there yet. Yeah, with this underneath. So I'm really loving how that's going to look. I can see it in my mind's eye. I know what I want, and I have several sets like this in my stash of like a single, like of a singlet quantity and a sheer ranunculus quantity that I would like to make some more of these outfits this year. But in future I'm going to do DK singlets because fingering singlets are just painful to knit. And I don't find that they're a lot more wearable than DK ones. I have quite a few tank tops, singlet top, camisole style knits in DK, and I find them just as wearable as the couple that I have in fingering and much more pleasant to knit. So in future they will be held double, yeah, or at least at a DK weight gauge. So hopefully by the time I see you next on a proper podcast, that one will be finished. What's next? Probably my MKAL. So this is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along from this year, which was in October, I believe. So we're getting to the end of the year. Like, I haven't got lots of really old WIPS on my needles. I've recently finished 2 shawls that were old WIPS. Actually, they're right here, so I'll just quickly flip them. This one I finished on New Year's Day. I was aiming for New Year's Eve, but I got it done on New Year's Day, which had been my New Year's Eve cast on the previous year. And this one here, this other little shawlette I just finished as well, which was my birthday cast on. My birthday's in June. So that one had been on the needle 6 months and I got them finished. Hooray for that. So they're not really old WIPS. They're only like, most of them are from like the last quarter of last year. Except for those 2 sweaters that have been hanging around for a long time. This is going to be a bit hard to show because I am mid-row and very tangled because it's all been stuffed in this bag and not looked at in quite a while. I started the MKAL because I was stressed in the middle of my final year of midwifery training and I just wanted something really engaging and fun and different and a new cast on, and I got carried away with the excitement of the MKAL. And I never completed 2023's one, and so I was like, yes, let's do it, because I love my 2022 shawlography. So this is what, it's going to be so hard to show you guys. It's so tangled, but I am not intending on working on it right now, so I'm not going to try and detangle it. But here we go. This gives you some kind of idea. I didn't even make it to the end of Clue 2. I'm just doing this last set of bobbles here at the edge before I start all the wedges that go around the bottom, and then I still have to do the fill-in at the top and the eyelets at the bottom. So there's still a lot of knitting to go on this, but you can see I chose this kind of deep slate navy blue and hot pink, and then I do not do brioche well, especially in long rows like this that you can't fix, so I am doing just the eyelets. Yeah, so I do love it. It's going to be so fun, so graphic, so amazing to wear when it's done, but the rows are just like exceedingly long, and so it's just a little bit at this point. Once I get to the short row wedges, I think I'll really enjoy it. Like, I really enjoyed doing the edges, the short row edging on this shawl. And these ones are a little bit different, and people said that they were slog, but I quite enjoy short rows, and I quite enjoy just having a short amount on the needle at a time rather than enormously long rows that just go on forever. Yeah, so I will finish this, but I have no timeline about it. Ideally, by the time the next MKAL comes along, not that I intend to do the next MKAL necessarily, but I would love to get this worn finished so I can wear it over the winter because it's going to be huge. For yarns, I am using Pearl Luster from Skeins. This is a Surrey alpaca and organic merino blend. It's like a light fingering, and so I found it too light on its own, so I'm holding it with some hot pink mohair nylon blend, again, that I get on a cone from Yarn on Cone. So I'm holding those two together for the pink. And I'm using this. This is Skein sock, which is no longer, they've changed their sock base a bit, but this is a merino nylon sock base from Skeins. This colour is called Quarry something. Slate? Quarry slate? Slate quarry? Something like that. It's like a really deep grey navy blue. I really love that colour. And for the mohair, I'm actually using a Surrey alpaca. This is from Mamawooling, and this is leftovers from my original lento. So I don't know what this colourway is called necessarily because it was part of a kit. But that's a Surrey alpaca. And I did actually hold it with this as well because I found that it was just, there was a bit too much colour difference and I wanted it to look a little bit more mild, so I did hold those together for the eyelets. It seems I have an interruption from my kids, so I shall be back in just a moment. Sorry about that, I'm back. So this is what happens when you have kids home for school holidays. There's never a long enough period of time where you don't get interrupted to film, but I thought today I'm just going to do it. So you have to just excuse all the randomness that happens amongst it. I think I finished talking about the Go-Go Dynamo. So next up, I think, was this. I didn't cast this on that long ago, so we're definitely up to more recent knits now. Recent casts on. Anyway, this is the City Dress by Torrin or Torrin Knits NYC. Oh, there's so many N's, guys. This I cast on, I don't remember when, but relatively recently. And this is a top and dress pattern that she released this in 2024. And I'm really keen for some, I really like sort of a bodycon dress, but not super tight fitting, but just like a kind of fitted dress that I can wear different cardies and like blouses over. So that's what I am knitting here. Excuse me a moment again. Gosh, okay. This is going to be interesting. We'll see how we go now that they have noticed that I am not around. They're going to probably want to pop in all the time. This is my city dress. As I was saying, I have done the front and the back flat, and I have joined in the round, and now I just have, again, oodles of stockinette to get to the length that I want it. There is some increases coming up. I've got about 10 more centimeters till I get to my natural waist, and then I will do some increases for my hips. That's all in the pattern. I am using for this Sheepy's Woolly Whirl. I got this on a clearance from Goodwill Hunting recently, and this is the colorway. So it starts at this beautiful deep navy blue and then transitions all the way down to this almost like aqua kind of color. Isn't that pretty? I'm sorry, the light is crap today. I have the overhead lights on and I'm sitting with side lit, so you're probably going to get not very good colors, but I'm working on that. It's slowly starting to transition lighter. I actually purchased a single ball of just the darkest color. It's exactly the same color that this started as, Woolly Whirlette, because I was worried about getting the front and the back matching. So I have two of these and I am holding them double. They're about 1,000 meters per ball, are they? Which is probably more than I need. 1,000 meters, yeah. But it's a fingering weight. It's 30% wool and 70% cotton. So I used this held double until I joined in the round, and then I actually realized that I'm going to end up with it all solid blue if I'm not careful. So I actually wound off some of the outside of these. That was the blue, the same as this, so that it would transition quite soon into the next lightest color. So yeah, so it's going to start transitioning and it's going to kind of be this beautiful fade. I am aiming for like midi length, so mid-calf, but I may stop mid-thigh if I get too sick of it. But I should have enough yarn to go all the way down past my knees. yeah, so that will be really cool. I really like the fit of how it fits on top. So hopefully it will come together really nicely. It's lovely to knit with. Does feel like you're knitting with cotton, but that 30% wool really gives it enough give and stretch that it doesn't feel taxing. And also I think that'll give it just enough memory that it won't completely stretch out, but it will be cool enough to wear layered with lots of different things and in the summer months. So we're having a very miserable summer so far. I've just realised I stole a needle off this project for another project because I couldn't find any more 4mm needles. What happens to my 4mm needles, guys? I just purchased some more recently and I just can never find 4mm needles. I need about 10 sets, I think. Oh, it is my most go-to needle size, most probably. Anyway, that's going to need some work. This, I was planning to take this away on my trip as well because, again, stockinette in the round is my favourite car knitting because I can do it without looking, so then I don't get too car sick. So this may come with me, but there's a few things that have kind of are more urgent, so we will have to see. What would I have cast on next? I think these socks were next. I just recently cast off a pair of socks, so these are the only ones actually on my needles, but I'll show you at the end. I have some ready to cast on. These are for my daughter. She chose this yarn from my stash, so they look tiny, but that's because she's 12, but she has a really narrow foot. I normally do 56 stitches for myself, so for these I actually did 52 stitches, and I regret that slightly. I wish I'd done 54. She can get them on, but it's a little bit of a stretch to get them over the heel. So just a vanilla sock with a shadow wrap heel. These are finished. This one's finished, ready to be kitchened, and then I need to start the other one, but I haven't yet. This is the yarn here, and this is called Tootsie. And I also got this from Goodwill Hunting. They had a sale on this at the end of last year, and I bought several balls, a few self-striping ones, because I haven't really worked with much self-striping yarn before. I've mostly worked with hand-dyed sock yarn, and so it was nice to get a commercial sock yarn that has the self-striping, and a few that are more heathery. That kind of give you that kind of like fairer colourwork look. This is a merino nylon sock yarn, and it is so soft. It is absolutely beautiful. So I am working on those for her. My daughter does artistic roller skating, and she loves having hand knit socks to wear inside her skates. And she recently got a new pair for her birthday, and they are a tighter fit than her previous ones. I've previously knit her 2 pairs of DK weight socks to wear inside her skates, but they're a bit too thick. So I'm doing her some fingering weight socks. But she can just wear regular socks until I get them done. So there's no major rush. But they are quite fun, just not super big on my priority list. Then this was a really spontaneous cast on. I love this bag. This is just a regular old tote bag, but I brought it in Hamner Springs when I went last year. And I just love it. This is our native New Zealand fantail of the Piwaka Waka. And they're just such delightful little cheeky birds. They're just my favourite native birds, so I love this bag. And this one's quite hefty, so it needs a big bag. This was a spontaneous cast on. My sister came to visit. She moved to Christchurch early last year, and so she was up for a visit over the summer, so that was amazing. I absolutely loved getting to hang out with her. I was saying how I intend to do a lot of knitting this year, and I already own a lot of sweaters. And so one of my 2025 intentions is to do lots of gift knitting this year. Not exclusively gift knitting at all, but to be really intentional, to bless people and to give gifts of knits when I can, and not for set deadlines like for your birthday or whatever, but just to say, hey, I want to knit. I have a massive stash. I'm also trying to not buy too much yarn this year and to work from my massive stash. can we find something in my stash that creates a jumper that you would love? So I was saying this to my sister, and I've knit her a lento previously, and I knit her a cardigan last year, and she said she would like a jumper with some colour work. So we went through my stash and chose colours. This is the Nyx Sweater by Crochet with the yoke only colour work. I brought the pattern because I absolutely adore the full colour work version, and I have intentions to make that for myself at some point in like a really low contrast, like cream and pale pink kind of situation. But anyway, so this is yoke only colour work, and I did actually modify the yoke as well. The pattern is written for a 20 stitch gauge, but Jess and I chose this beautiful Kelly & Co, which is a merino dongle tweed yarn, and I used that also for this, which is my stick season jacket, which I test knit last year, and this is knitted a 16 stitch gauge, and I really like this yarn at this gauge, so I modified this to knit it at a 16 stitch gauge. So I actually dropped the second chevron off the yoke because it was going to be too deep if I did that. So I did the increases and just knit in just the blue for just, you can see it would have been about another 10 rows deeper if I had have done the next chevron, and that was just going to be too deep at this gauge. So yeah, this is coming together nicely. I cast this on exactly a week ago, and I got quite obsessed with it for a while, but 16 stitch gauge goes pretty quick. I am knitting size 3 to get a size 5. That's how my knit maths worked out with the increased gauge. I think I'm knitting at about 20% bigger than it's written for, so I've gone down 2 sizes, and that seems to be about right. It's definitely very roomy on me, so I think we will be good. I also found that this yarn grew quite a lot when I blocked it, this Kelly & Co, so I'm hoping that we get a bit of growth lengthwise, because I only have 5 skeins of blue, and then I'm incorporating the cream. Jess has asked me to do cream cuffs. She really liked the cuffs that I did for this stick season with the quite decent 2x2 rib folded over, so I'm going to do that, but do that in cream, just to help with the yarn management. I have completed 2 skeins of the blue, so I'm at a pause here, and I'm in debating whether I'm going to do a sleeve next and see how long that how much yarn that takes, or whether I just knit another skein into the body. She likes crop sweaters, so I'm tempted to do the sleeves because I do want full length sleeves, and then put whatever is left onto the body. I think that's what I'll do. So I have 2 more full skeins and then a 75 gram skein, because I gave a little bit of this yarn away to someone who needed a wee bit to finish a project. So I have 275 grams left. But then I've got the cream, so I could do the bottom hem in the cream as well if I really got stuck for length. But I did try this on myself the other day, and I'm only about this far off the top of my high-waisted pants, and Jess always wears high-waisted as well. So I think, and this is pretty much 1 skein's worth of length, I got about 10 centimetres from the 1 skein. So I think if I can have, and the sleeves aren't going to take, I reckon the sleeves will take about 75 grams of glue each, and then the cream cuff, because it's quite a wide sleeve, and we want a roomy sleeve. So I reckon I will have 1 1/4 skeins. I reckon I could put a whole another skein into the length, and then I'll have some left over from the sleeves that I could do the ribbing with. That's my hope. Yeah, I could always go online and see if someone's got some of this that they could sell me, but I'm trying really hard to work from stash in 2025, and so I have the cream. I just need to find a way to incorporate it that will look okay. The colour work's a little bit ripply at this point because it hasn't been blocked, but I was really careful with my floats, and I don't feel like they are tight like it does stretch out. I did have to catch floats on 1 or 2 rows. I think I don't think it's a float problem. I think it just needs blocking. So that is the Nyx for Jess. I have so much blue and pink on my needles. Like, seriously, do I have anything else? Everything is navy blue or a version of pink. Pretty much, isn't it? Wow, you can see where my preferences lie. What's next? This one I only cast on yesterday, but it's nearly finished. But I will show it to you anyway. This one I cast on the day before yesterday. And this is just a tiny little 2x2 ribbed beanie. It's super stretchy. This is newborn size. Just a free pattern on Rav, but it does stretch a lot. But I'm not really that happy with it because it was a knit flat pattern and my sewing up is crap. See, look, it looks really naff. So I think I'm actually going to frog this. This only took me an evening. Look, ugly. So ugly. I'm going to frog that and re-knit it in the round because that's crappy. I'm not gifting that. It's too ugly. She wanted a hat the picture she sent me was fully ribbed and then with a pom-pom. I'm half tempted to do the rib cuff and then do stockinette because I think it looks nicer. But that's not actually what her inspiration picture was. It was fully ribbed. So it would look cute once you put the pom-pom on, right? I just don't like ribbed hats so much, so I like stockinette hats, but it's not for me. It's for a gift. It's for my sister-in-law. I have a new niece arriving in March. So that's for her. I've also knit another sweater for her, but I'm not going to show you that because I've got to have something to show you on my regular podcast episode. This is one of the test knits I signed up for. This is called the Tangled WIPS top by Donnybrook Designs. Athelia O'Connor is her name, and this is in testing. This is a child's pattern. This is the newborn size. It goes all the way up to 10 years. And it's just kind of got this beautiful lace work on the cap sleeve. A bit hard to show there. So pretty, easy to do. It's going to have 2 buttons just here, and I just need to finish the band on the sleeve here and then sew on all the ends and it will be done. Put some buttons on. Yeah, so this is really cute. My sister-in-law had requested white for hat and she wants some booties as well. So I thought, I had 3 balls of this, and so I thought, oh, and this was supposed to take about 75 grams. So I thought I will do this to match, and then it's like a whole little set and she can just wear it over a onesie. Yeah, so hopefully that will get finished. That will definitely get finished today. I intend to do that, finish that before I go away on my trip. So I've just got to do 6 rows of garter stitch on this sleeve cap and sew on all my ends. This yarn has been a little bit challenging. It's beautiful yarn. This is called Pearl. It's made by Skeins. They no longer make the DK version. They just make the fingering version, which is what I'm using for my MKAL. Pearl. Oh, the label's very ratty because it's quite old. Been in my stash for ages. This colourway is called Gardenia, and this is 75% fine merino, 12% alpaca, and 10% silk. So it is technically a hand wash yarn, so it's probably not the most ideal thing for baby knits that are going to get puked on. But she asked for it in white. But they're only going to fit it for like 6 weeks at most. So I figure what the hey. The problem that I've had with this, I'm not sure it's going to show up on camera with the lighting I have today, but I had this in my stash, and in my stash I have everything in cube storage, but kind of on display, and there's a big door opposite, and I have my yarn covered now because what I discovered is that actually white yarns and lighter coloured yarns get bleached by the sun, and so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see. The light's too crappy, but the end of this ball that was on display has gone yellow, whereas the rest of it is a really crisp bleached white. The end is yellow. That whole beautiful sun bleached yellow Ew. So I'm just pulling from the center of these balls, which is why I have yarn bath going on, because I had 3 balls and I've been pulling from the center, and just going until I get a hint of the yellow coming through, and then I've just been like, nope. So some of this yarn is going to get thrown away because I just don't think it's worth you trying to use it. But yeah, I feel like there's maybe just the tiniest hint of yellow come into the hem of this, but then in some lights I feel like I see it, in some lights I feel like I don't, and so I think I'm just going to leave it, because again, this baby's only going to fit this for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and it will probably get stained, so I'm not going to stress too much. Also, she didn't ask for this. This is a test knit I signed up for, and I just thought, hey, I'll add it to this whole set, because then it's actually got a recipient. Hence, I'm doing it in the white, which is a very non-practical baby colour. I get it for a hat and booties, because then it goes with everything. A top, it will go with everything. And it's a March baby, so it's going to need some wool layers, but not the most practical colour, but it will make a cute little set. So I'm working on that. I've got some booties to add to this as well to do, and I'm going to redo the hat, because I'm just not, I knew when I did it. The reason I knit it flat is because the pattern I picked was written flat, and my ribbing is nicer flat. I have tidier ribbing flat than I do in the round, because my in the round pearls are a bit loose. So I'm like, sweet, I'll just do it flat then, but I just couldn't sew it nicely. It just looks crappy, real crappy. So we're not doing that, and I also think it's a tiny bit small. I would like to actually go up maybe 4 stitches, just so it's just a little bit bigger. So that'll get redone. Sorry, I've got the hiccups for some reason. Okay, we're 42 minutes in and we've still got WIPS to go, so I better keep moving. That's that one. I only cast that on yesterday. Like I said, I cast it on in the morning. My kids went swimming in the pool for a couple of hours in the afternoon, so I just sat and knit, and made it through almost that whole little top, which is great. I find it's pretty achievable to knit 1 ball of DK in a day, so about 100 meters. Yeah. What's in this bag? Oh, this hasn't been cast. This is a 2 cast on. That's a 2 cast on. This is, so I've got 2 more that are started, and then 1 that I'm frogging, and then 1 to show you that, sorry, 2 more that are cast on, 2 that I'm going to cast on my trip. So they're going to be WIPS tomorrow, so I'm going to show you those, and 1 that I'm frogging. This is another test knit that I signed up for. I remember signing up for it. I don't recall getting the email saying that I'm in the test knit at all. Apparently I got it on like the 12th of December. But no recollection whatsoever that I actually got into this test knit. And so I just got another email saying, hey, how's everyone going? Yesterday. And I was like, oh crap, I have not started that. It's due in a week. I better get going. But again, it's a baby knit, so it's not too much pressure. This is, again, another test knit from Torrin. I just test knit her Dreamer Cardi that came out last weekend, and this is a baby hat. I can't remember what this is called. It's a baby hat. I'll put it in the description. It is a broken seed stitch pattern, which is so cool, so easy to do, but so effective. It's sort of muscle bra-esque in the fact that it's reversible. So you have this on the outside, and I've done a provisional cast on, and then I knit this 20 centimeters, do some decreases, and then I pick up my provisional cast on and knit in the plain yarn for the second half of the hat, and so it's reversible. Another child's here to visit. Excuse me a moment. Okay, where was I? Slip stitch, and then just plain stockinette for the second side. So I only cast this on late last night, and I've already done 7-8 centimeters. I need to go to 22 in this pattern and then do the decreases and then do 10 centimeters in the plain. So I'm expecting to get it finished in the next couple of days, even though it's a very tardy cast on. I'm using Flight Naturals Merino for the main colour. This is in the colourway Kiwi. These are all named after native birds. Excuse me. All the non-urgent, urgent requests today. Anyways, I'm using Flight Kiwi. This is again another yarn from Skeins. It's 100% New Zealand Merino. And yeah, colourway Kiwi. I'm using that for my main colour. And I am using this. This came in my yarn swap advent this year. It's beautiful, orangey, goldy, ochre-y. Colours are crap. Sorry, guys. Variegated yarn, and this is Circus Tonic Handmade in their sock base. Yes, so this, my sister is expecting her first baby in June, and we don't know yet if it's a boy or a girl, so I thought I would pick a gender neutral colourway to make this in so that I can gift it to her when it's done. I am doing the baby size, so this hat comes in baby, toddler, child, adult, small, medium and large. I signed up for the baby size. This is definitely not newborn size, like more like 3 to 6 month size, I would say, even 6 month size potentially. But I'm knitting at gauge, all good. I'm really enjoying this. It's really fun, this stitch pattern. It's broken C stitch. It's literally knit a row in your main colour and then rib a row in your 1x1 rib in your contrast colour, and then knit a row in your main colour and then offset your rib in the other colour, and it's just stunning. Really easy to do. You've got to pay a little bit of attention to make sure you keep the stitch pattern correct, but it's really pretty basic. So that one is again priority because it's due next Thursday and today is Wednesday, and so that needs to get done. But it's such a small project that it should be okay. And even if it was an adult size, a hat in a week should be fine. Just have to prioritize it. Look at these cute. I love this little pin. I just recently got this U-Rock one. And it's a pin I got from the Crazy Sock Lady's store before she closed that down. Yeah. This is just like a little makeup pouch that I found, but I love it for the metallic pink and the rainbow strap. Moving on, one other in-progress WIP for the same sister who's having a baby. I started a crochet baby blanket for her, most on a complete whim. So I started it and haven't continued because the baby's not due for 6 months, so I've got plenty of time. I am just doing a... Sorry, I'm going to have to go again. Okay, hopefully we'll get the last 10 minutes in before I get interrupted again. I'm sorry about the lighting. I really feel like it's really crap, isn't it? I'll try and do better next time on my lighting situation. I was talking about the crochet blanket. I'm just doing a linen stitch. It's literally like one of the most simplest crochet stitches, but really effective in its texture and pattern. I cannot tell you how many stitches I cast on. I had a look at a pattern that told me just kind of do like a cot blanket size. I am using a 4mm hook. This is fingering weight, gigantic cone of yarn. I went to the Wool Yarns cone sale. They are a mill who make clothing out of merino and possum New Zealand fibre, and they have a sale once a year where they sell off all their leftovers and additionals in cones. And this is merino. It's a 2-ply fingering weight merino, just undyed, and it blocks up beautifully. It looks a bit stringy like this, but I did a swatch. I blocked it in warm water, and oh my gosh, it became so glorious. And it's really soft. And again, since we don't know the gender of this baby, I thought cream was the perfect option, and then it'll be serviceable for any future babies she might have as well. This sister is very knit worthy. She absolutely appreciates hand knit things and loves natural fibres, and so I thought I have another sister who's had kids, and I didn't make a blanket for her. I did knit clothes for her kids, but I thought this sister will really appreciate a handmade blanket, and crochet is much quicker for me for blanket style things than knitting. So this is my one crochet knit. It's not a priority yet, but it will be once the weather cools down and it's nice to work on a blanket. The one that I'm going to frog, I mentioned this in my previous episode. This is my framed sweater, which was the Rhinebeck sweater by Andrew and Mallory for 2024, and I'm going to frog this. I have not yet, but I have taken the needles out because I needed them for something else, because I just didn't love it enough to continue. It comes up better on camera, I feel, than it does in person, but it's kind of the quilt square motif. It's kind of hard to show with it all rolling up there. It's a bottom up, drop shoulder, this colour work motif all over. I got caught up in the hype when this released and cast it on because I had some Spin Cycle Dream State, which I had been previously gifted, and I needed a project for it, and this was written for this yarn, and I was like, it's perfect! And it is, but it isn't. Like, I love the yarn. I want this to shine. And I feel like in this design, even though it's made for this yarn, and it shows up better on camera than it does in real life, it just is a bit wishy-washy, and it just doesn't look definitive enough and defined enough. It's not really going to look like quilt squares when it's knit up. It's just going to look like this all-over pattern that's indistinguishable. At least that's how it feels to me. And so I don't want to continue. It's quite hard work. You have to colour work flat when you get to the top parts here. And I just wasn't loving it enough. And it just made me feel stressed, thinking that I have to work on this and how much time this is going to take. So this is getting frogged. I had the Dream State, and I will repurpose the Dream State yarn. My original idea with the Dream State yarn was to use it for a Warp and Weft by Jessie Maid. And I recently did a test knit, a sock test knit for her, and got gifted a pattern. And so I got the Warp and Weft pattern. And so I'm going to go back to trying to using it for that, I think, sometime in this year. I was using Skeins Southlander for the main colour, which is 100% New Zealand non-superwash wool, perfect for colour work. And then I was using that Pearl DK, same as the Baby Knits, for the black in the colourway Barbosa, which was beautiful and soft and really great stitch definition. It was a great combo, but I just don't love it enough to continue it. So this is kind of put aside. When I want to reuse the yarn, when I'm ready to re-knit the yarn, I will frog it, because it's going to be quite a lot of work to undo all that colour work. So I'm not going to do it for no reason. So that is all my WIPs. So that's like 10 WIPs, 10 current working WIPs. A couple which will be done soon, like the little baby singlet should be done really soon. The pink camisole for myself should be done really soon. The baby hat should be done really soon. All of those things should come off the needles in the next week. The two things that I am lastly going to share with you are the things that I'm going to cast on, and these are coming on my trip, and I want to cast them on if I get time. I'm away for 4 days, but there's a lot of driving involved. It's just me and my hubby, so I'm hoping I'll get a good amount of knitting time, but I'm always overestimate. This year, like I previously mentioned, I'm having a low buying year. Not a no buying year, I've got some exceptions, but a low buying year. But what I have done is signed up for the Mamawooling sock club for the year. So I get a sock set every month, inspired by the months. This one is called something about resolutions. Oh, I can't remember what it was actually called. But this is the sock set for January, was it? Was something like, nah, I can't remember. Something about New Year's resolutions anyway. Vibrant resolutions or something like that. Anyway, this is the sock set. And my intention for this year is I'm going to be working this year 4 days a week as a midwife at my local hospital, and that involves a lot of night shifts. And night shifts can also involve a lot of downtime. Sometimes all the babies arrive overnight and it's very busy, and sometimes there's not a lot going on. So I intend to always have sock knitting in my work bag, and so I would love to try and knit 3 pairs of socks a month. This year I knit 1 or 2 socks a month easily without having that as a real solid intention, just as a thing. What I would like to do is, because I have this sock yarn, the socks I love to knit for myself and that I love to wear are shorty socks, and they take about 40 grams of yarn. I would really like this year to start knitting skimmer socks, which are like no-show socks. And they take about 30 grams of yarn, 30 to 40 grams of yarn. And I also really love knitting DK socks with a fingering held with a mohair. And they take about, well, hardly any yarn because you're holding it with a mohair. I can't remember exactly. But if I break this down and I use the mini that comes, I should be able to, I think, get 3 pairs of socks out of this. Some skimmer socks, some ankle socks, and some DK socks. I have lots of other mini skeins in my stash, and my intention is that I will use the mini skein for toes and cuffs, and then do my favourite shadow wrap heel just in the main yarn. And then I've pulled some other mini skeins from my stash that would go just as well if I run a bit short, and I can do that for each month because I have heaps of mini skeins and bits of leftovers. So I've picked some other pinks here that also go, and then this other teal, deeper teal. If I get sick of adding pink, I want to change. Yeah, so that's my intention. I have that all ready to go. I have my fingering weight needles in there. I have my DK weight needles in there. So that's going to be, this is a felted toiletries bag. Once again, they make great project bags. Felted wool. I also brought this in Hammer Springs. This is our tui, another native bird. And then this is a pin of the piwaka waka and a kiwi. I love this project bag. So this is my socks for January. So I mean, it's already the middle of the month. I probably won't get through 3 pairs in the month now. But at least 1 for January out of that yarn. And my other intention is 1 more test knit. So I've nearly got those 2 baby test knits off my needles. I have no sweater test knits at the moment, which is great. I'm going to try and limit those for this year. If Crochet comes out with something I absolutely love, I'll sign up for it, no doubts. Yeah, but I need to do less of them so I can actually get through the other stuff that I want to knit and stop bumping everything. But this is a shawl test knit. She just, again, for Crochet, and she put the call out for this recently, last weekend, and I'm in to make the larger size of the shawl. This is called the Torrin shawl. It's a dip stitch shawl, and I'm going to use, it needs 400 meters of DK weight yarn, and I'm going to use this. This is actually only 366 meters, so hopefully it needs slightly less than it says, or I'll be able to modify it slightly. This is a Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles. I actually bought this on a D-stash because this yarn is crazy expensive by the time it gets to New Zealand. And this is called Cereal, and it's this beautiful taupey, almost pink beige with all these beautiful pretty colours in it, but just quite lightly speckled. And I'm going to hold it to get it to a DK weight. I have 2 cones here, which I'm going to wind off cakes from. I'm not going to keep them whole like this because I don't find that easy to work from. of like a blush pink and a natural, and I'm going to use one strand of each because these are like 800 meters to 50 gram, so like cobweb weight, like 1 ply mohair rather than 2 ply weight, so one each of those to hold with this to make the Torrin shawl. And I'm going to cast that. This was going to be my traveling project until I realized I have to do that hat. So as soon as the hat is done, this will be getting cast on, and I'll be caking up this yarn today to take away. Yeah, so that's my other cast on thing. So that is all my WIPs, guys. 10 active WIPs, 2 incoming WIPs, and 1 to frog. I'm pretty happy with that. I would like to get less WIPs on my needles. I would really love to get it down to like a pair of socks. Like maybe 2 pairs of socks on the needles, a sweater on the needles, a shawl on the needles, and maybe 2 sweaters, 2 socks, 2 accessories, and that be the maximum for the year. So maximum of 6. Currently I have 10. Oh, but then there's a blanket WIP. There's always going to be a blanket WIP, right? I'm just a whippy person, basically. I'm just always going to have multiple projects on the go. And they don't stress me out unless they're test knits and they've got timelines. So I feel like if I have less test knits this year, I work from my stash, I knit the things I want to knit or that others want, that I want to knit for them, then I'll have a very happy year of knitting. And I will continue to try and whip down a little bit more. Like I say, I've got a dress on the needles. I've got more more quantities of yarn for more dresses as well. Because that's something I actually really like and find really functional in my wardrobe versus a whole pile more sweaters and cardigans, which I already have so many of. And shawls, again, I don't really know how I wear them, but they're fun to knit, and I don't have a lot of shawls. So yeah, gonna keep working on this. Gonna keep trying not to sign up for so many things at the same time and work through some of this. But there you go. That's all of my WIPs. It took a whole hour to talk about them. That's how many there are. I hope you enjoyed this short little episode. I will try to come back to you sometime soon with that Everything I Knit in 2024 episode. It's going to be much later than everybody else's, but the results are the same. What I knit in 2024 remains the same. So I'll get that video to you as soon as I can. And when I come back from my trip, I will try and do a regular podcast episode as well, talking about what I'm currently working on and what I've already finished in 2025. I would also like to talk a little bit about my 2025 intentions. I've talked a little bit about it here in this episode, but I don't have a make 9 because I can never limit myself to 9 projects whenever I try. I always come up with about 14. But I do have several projects that I would love to make from yarn that I already have in my stash in 2025 that I would like to prioritize as something comes off my needle for one of those to go on. So I would love to make a little video about that too, and about my stats for 2024. So yeah, thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to share my knitting with you. Thank you to everyone who likes and subscribes and follows me on this knitting journey. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and check out all my projects on Ravelry. I'm under the same name, Rebecca Ann Knits, everywhere. So yeah, thank you. All the best. I hope you enjoy whatever knitting crafting time that you are getting at the moment, and that whatever your plans and goals are for 2025, and however many WIPs you like to have, that you enjoy your knitting and crafting time. And yeah, I will catch you soon, I hope. See you later. Talk to you soon.